Hallo?
Ja, we gaan proberen. Ik denk dat je best hier langs voor. Ja.
Maar ik ga daar wel achter staan, hè.
Dat mag wel.
Ja, ik ga daar wel.
Maar het is omdat ik op en af dat
Maar dan ga ik met mijn papier anders geen. En die heb ik toch nog nodig.
Ik ga deze hier eens even precies. Ik ga deze een keer hier zetten, want ik heb die stoelen niet.
Van Finland.
Ja, dat moet op het einde.
Headset marcheren?
Dat moet je vragen aan Anna, want ik heb gezegd dat ik liever geen headset had.
Het is voor Dagmar dan.
Ah ja, ja. Dus...
Normaal gezien wel. Het is voor Dagmar. Maar ik omknop van het deze. Ja, super. Ja, in orde. Ja.
Maar ja, daar moet ik weten hoe dat is.
Agustina. Ik heb Mana. Ja, ik heb het eten al. Ja, oké. Ik heb Ik heb het in de PowerPoint gekregen. Ik heb een beetje geprutst. Ah, oké, dat is goed. Ja, goed. Ik ga jullie een boontje geven dat je zelf kunt... Ah ja, dat is goed. En heb je
Zij
is de tweedejaarsstudent.
Ja, oké. Samen met Michiel, hè? Ja. Ken jullie namen?
Ja.
Steek je hand op.
Michiel,
Ja, dat is Michiel.
Goed, komt in orde. Ja, kunnen we. Good afternoon. They told me to speak in the mic, but I hope this is okay for you like this. Yeah. Good afternoon to all of you gathered here at UC Leuven-Limburg, Campus Proximus in Leuven, to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the BME curriculum. As you can see on the screen, I'll be your host this afternoon and guide you through the program. UC Leuven-Limburg extends a warm welcome to all of you present at this festive event. The representatives of the city of Leuven, the representatives of the BME Consortium, and the management, staff, and students of UC Leuven-Limburg. A special welcome to the management, staff, and students of the other member institutions of the BME Consortium. As those members are spread across Europe, and it was not possible for those people to be present here this afternoon, this whole event is being online streamed via YouTube so that they can also attend this celebration, albeit in a virtual way. This is indeed a very special occasion. 10 years ago, some visionary people from IBA in Kolding, Denmark, from Coventry University in England, and from the former KH Leuven came up with a rather bold and quite unique plan to develop a 3-year bachelor program in marketing, providing an embedded and intense intercultural experience because the students actually study each year in a different country. But more about the history of BME later on. Suffice it to say now that the program has been a success from the very start. But it has taken all institutions involved a lot of efforts, cooperation, dedication, and perseverance. And it is this successful commitment we want to celebrate today. Our first speaker has been so kind to record his speech on video because unfortunately he already had other commitments this afternoon. He is a well-known figure on the European scene, a great Belgian and European politician, a former Prime Minister of Belgium and President Emeritus of the European Council. He is going to discuss the importance of a program like our BME in the European educational area.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear students, first of all, I want to congratulate the UCLL with the 10th anniversary of the BME, the Bachelor Business Management Marketing across Europe. It's indeed a unique European program. I know how proud the UCLL is on this achievement. The European business schools present today have been working closely together across borders. The program makes it possible today for students to study marketing and business management in 3 different countries. It proves that the relentless efforts and vision of a few can move the minds of many. Education is key for the support of the European idea. It is more than just a driver for jobs and growth or for creating equal opportunities for all. Only people, especially young people, can create a new identity, a European identity, completing their national or regional identities. Moving towards a European area of education in 2025 implies, among others, following points. Making mobility a reality for all. The mutual recognition of diplomas. Improving language learning. Creating a network of universities that work together across borders. The true Europeans of tomorrow will be formed by our universities and schools. Students are different men and women after a real European education. They will look at others differently, with more hope. For them, the European idea is embodied in human beings, and this feeling will never leave them. I hope that there will be many celebrations in the future, so that upcoming generations also can benefit from this program. Thank you so much, and again, congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Van Rompuy, for your approving comments. Now I have the pleasure to introduce Mrs. Maggie Timmermans, Head of the Group of Management and Technology of UC Leuven-Limburg. She is going to explain how the BME curriculum fits into the strategic objectives and the international character of UC Leuven-Limburg. Mrs. Timmermans, the floor is yours.
A warm welcome also from me. Welcome to all the prominent guests of the consortium, all invitees, lecturers, students, alumni here and abroad. In order to implement the vision and mission statement of our university college, 5 strategic priorities for 2014 to 2022 were defined. Being successful in education and in the labor market, regional added value through education, research and services, building our university college's identity, information and communication technology in organization, education and research, and not in the least, internationalization. We are an open knowledge network, and from there we enter into a dialogue with society. We want to offer everyone the learning opportunities to optimally develop his or her talents and be successful for a lifetime. That is why we focus on diversity and sustainability. Every individual is welcome and respected. We deliver internationally oriented, change-skilled and enterprising professionals. Being able then to reflect and work in an international setting is crucial to maintaining and developing our prosperity and well-being. Flanders is also becoming a more diverse society. Therefore, the strength of social cohesion is vital. Our alumni, students and staff members must be prepared to deal with this diverse environment and super diversity. Our university college is known and recognized for its internationally oriented study programs and student population. We are involved in international and intensive partnerships with foreign institutions in strong European regions and beyond. Even our social commitment is clearly internationally oriented. Expanding the view of the world, exploring new horizons, even improving language skills are just a few aspects that are part of the development of the international competences for students and staff members implemented in our curricula. We believe they are essential in a rapidly changing and super diverse society. Even just the presence of the international audience on campus also contributes to the development of international competence of those who are not studying abroad. Their presence makes life on and work on campus so much more colorful, and this in all its aspects. I'm therefore very honored today to celebrate the 10th anniversary of an initiative that was very revolutionary from the start. Two places of honor today between the prominent members are the founders of this program, Belgian Luc van Hille and Brit Ian Charles. In 2007, the two colleagues, directors, stubbornly stumbled through all possible obstacles to gain international recognition for the unique business management marketing across Europe program, or short BME program. Erasmus exchange programs and other transnational training courses did not go far enough for them. In the spirit of Erasmus, they invented a radical international bachelor's degree above the foam of a fresh pint, so tells history. A full English language marketing study of 3 years, of which each year another country to study in. The idea for BME was born, and after a tough recognition track, the partnership started with a British, a Danish, and a Belgian college. I would like to thank them for holding on to their dream, and I'm very sure only one of their dreams, but an important step for us as UCLL in the evolution towards an international school. I would like to give them later on the opportunity to share with us their experiences on the history of the program. With their motto, 3 years, 3 countries, 3 perspectives, both the number of BME graduates per year and the partnership itself continue to grow. Business management across Europe is more than a bachelor program. It immerses students in a truly trans-European experience that leads to a double degree. Today, BME is still the only bachelor program of which the students study 1 year in 3 different countries within one 3-year study program. First-year students from all over the world now have a choice between Spain and Germany. The second-year students study in Belgium. And for year 3, they have a choice between France and Great Britain. If they succeed, they receive 2 recognized bachelor degrees. One of the University of Applied Sciences, where the student is studying during 3rd year, plus a degree Bachelor Business Management Marketing from our university college. And now we're standing here celebrating the 10th anniversary. The 7 partners of the consortium are giving this milestone an extra shine today, because with the accession of an 8th partner, the Finnish Laurea University of Applied Sciences in Helsinki. First-year students will now be able to start BME also in Helsinki. The consortium is certainly very important to the development or rollout of the curricula. Mieke Rogge, head of the BME program in UCLL, emphasize that because of the amount of work that has been done within the consortium, we are here today celebrating the 10th anniversary and even able to expand with new members. True to the internationalization dream of the founders, the partnership is looking even further. An interest in BME is also present at educational institutions outside Europe. So the question is whether the next decade celebration will be transcontinental. Who knows? Sky is the limit. I thank you, everyone, for the work and the drive to give shape to this program, and wish everyone every success in the further development of a qualitatively strong international program. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Timmermans, for highlighting the BME and for putting it into the international perspectives of UCLL. Our next speaker, Mr. Mohamed Ridouani, alderman of the City of Leuven, is going to talk about the international initiatives in the City of Leuven, of which the BME is just a small one, but an important one, I think. And UCLL also works actively together in some of those initiatives with the City of Leuven.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, congratulations to UCLL for the 10th anniversary of the BME. I would like to congratulate everyone that has had something to do with the startup, and especially those who made it as strong as it is today. Me, myself, being an alumnus of the UCLL College, I'm also very proud that this is happening right now and that it is successful. And moreover, representing the city, I can tell you that what UCLL is doing, its students and its professors, is really contributing towards what the city is heading to. And if you speak about Leuven today, it's really a different city from 20 years ago. Because today, when you walk around and when we have delegations coming in and I receive them, especially when they have to do with UCLL or the KU Leuven, I tell them, look, Leuven is a dynamic city because 1 out of 3 inhabitants is a student or a researcher. And secondly, Leuven is such a diverse city. We have 156 nationalities living here, because they are attached to university or the college or the research institutions or the spin-offs, which makes that if you spend one afternoon on the Grote Markt having a coffee, you will see half of the world passing by. You will hear so many different languages. It's beautiful and it enriches our city, and now for centuries, and I hope that it will become even stronger. Today, for us, it's even, let's say, an active approach to not only look at this diversity in a passive way, but to manage it and to make sure it becomes even a symbol of our city, because it is a strength that that we do have. In this, while we're talking here, just behind the corridor, there is the international school. I have established the international primary school in English together with the university, IMEC and other partners, because I believe that it can contribute to the comfort of life of people coming in, maybe for 4 or 5 years, and that it is, as a city and as a community, it's important that you support this, this community. But what we have done is going even further, and I think we have also established something new, which is called Leuven Mindgate. In fact, it's an organization. But if you have to describe it, it is a cooperation, it is a partnership, it's a governance model. UCLL is part of it, is one of the founding fathers and members, actually. And what we do with Leuven Mindgate is we go worldwide and we tell the story of Leuven. Leuven being a hotspot of talent, young talent, of diversity, of science, of knowledge, of high-tech, of creativity. That's one thing. To make sure that we keep on moving in the right direction, that international talents come here to study, to work, and to do research, to make sure that investors come to Leuven, and that we keep on moving. Secondly, what Leuven Mindgate is doing is in fact making sure that everyone that can contribute to this international environment, to a city that is flourishing, can be gathered in this organization, can interlink with each other, and can start up a lot of projects. And one of them is this one, of which I'm particularly very proud of. It's, in fact, you have here a preview, because there's a press conference which I will be heading to right after my speech, which I'm sorry about, but we will present the International House of Leuven. And it is, in fact, a perfect business case to bring here today, because I don't know if you know this campus. It was a campus before. It's still, we have now an agreement with UCLL, but this was the teachers' campus of UCLL before. And Group T, in fact. But with the merger of the two departments, now the teachers have moved to Heverlee. So the city has taken over this beautiful building, which is at the station side, just across Provinciehuis. And this beautiful building will move from an educational department site to an international house. It will be a one-stop shop for everyone coming in, like you, students, researchers, talent that comes in to work here in Leuven or to build up a new future in Leuven. They will have this one stop that guides them towards housing, education for their children, handling of administration before they come in and after they come in. But there is another aspect which is so important, because people come in to study here, because we have UCLL and KU Leuven being top of the notch institutes, but they also look at the quality of life. They want an environment where they will spend 3, 4, 5, 6 years or longer, where they can have a comfortable life, where people are friendly, but we are friendly, so that's already okay. But where they want to be able to speak to their neighbors, where you have kindergartens for their children, where your administration is being handled well, and where you can have social integration. We've done a large survey, and we've asked expats, students that came in from other countries, and they say, well, living in Leuven is fine. Nice people, they speak English, it's easy to go around, but we don't know our neighbors. The social integration is not really very good. We don't have a lot of information about the services that you have in Leuven. And the number one reason why people go back to their home countries earlier than foreseen is because their families don't find their way around. And that gives stress. So the International House will also help people towards social integration, to move towards cultural life, to participate in sports organizations, to come to events, and to meet people, and summarizing, to be part of a community. And that's where I will conclude. I hope that we can work together, also with the program of BME and other departments within UCLL, with the students, with the professors, to make sure that we realize this symbol, because it will open now next weekend. But it is simple. I think we have to work together to build a community. That's important. We have 156 nationalities, but too often they live on islands. So let's bridge these islands and make sure that when you speak about Leuven, you say, Leuven is an international city and it's natural that way. So once again, congratulations, and I hope we can cooperate together to make sure that indeed Leuven flourishes and becomes really an international city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ridouani, for sharing your ideas and initiatives for the city of Leuven with us. And I think now is the time to tell you a little bit more about the history of the development of the BME consortium and curriculum. You've heard some details about it in between, but what better persons to talk about that than two of the founding fathers of the BME? I give the floor to Mr. Ian Charles, representing IBA in Denmark, and Mr. Luc van Hille, representing formerly KH Leuven, now UCLL.
Hello, dear friends. It's a bit strange to be in front of you again after 2 years. But we agreed to do a little speech together and about the origin, how EBM is born. And I made some preparation before yesterday. I sent it to Ian. And at 12 o'clock, I catched him at the airport, at the railway station. We went for a little quick lunch. And the end result is that the whole speech is upside down. Because there were so many new ideas, not new, but stories that we had to tell each other. And, well, we will see how it will work out now with this speech. Okay. In the bus, in the way back to the hotel during a conference of NIPS. NIPS is a network of international business schools. I was sitting next to David Gillingham. Some of you will remember David. He was the dean of the business school in University of Coventry and also the charismatic president of NIPS. And I started talking about e-learning, which was already well developed in Coventry. And suddenly David said, "Why don't you come to Coventry with your team of program directors? We could explain everything and you could experience how it works in practice." I couldn't wait to propose it to our board. And like always, my team was very excited. Yes. Because we were struggling at the time with e-learning. Arrived in Coventry, David was planned to meet us at breakfast time in the Ibis Hotel. He appeared with another man, a very handsome, clever and genius man. Obviously, he was in Coventry, Ian, to discuss a third-year bachelor degree for his economist students in Kolding. And he considered also a double degree. So David approached our table, presented himself, welcomed us, and said, "This is Ian Charles from the International Business Academy in Kolding, Denmark." Ian took over, looked at me, and said, "Are you perhaps interested in a triple degree program?" I was a bit speechless, but like always, I said, "Yes, we are." My colleagues looked at me and thought, there he goes again. Now I hand over to Ian. He will give some comments on what I have said.
Well, the first thing I should say is that we're not founding fathers, we're founding grandfathers. We should get that one clear for a start. Mine are older than yours. It's actually quite strange how things turn out, because the way it actually started was the whole program was actually intended, believe it or not, for UK students. And what had actually happened in the mid-2000s was that tuition fees had been introduced, or actually increased, to something like about 4,000 euros a year. We thought, well, here's a sort of very clever idea. We could send the students abroad for 2 years and then bring them back to the UK. They would only actually have to pay for 1 year. But there was also a kind of much more idealistic view as well, because if you know anything about UK students or UK people, they're actually rather difficult to get them out, especially the male students. They kind of miss their mum's cooking, and anyway, it's very, very complicated. So we thought that actually, if they were tempted by the fact that they would be saving about 8,000 or more euros, then they would be very happy to do a program like this. And of course, the third and the most idealistic part of the whole vision, the real idealistic part, was that English people, British people, are not always the most European-oriented. So we thought, well, a program like this will really get British people embedded into the European vision. Well, that went well, didn't it? Yeah. I mean, that's unfortunately that you see. You could say that it's an occasion where the operation was a success, but the patient is dead. But having said that, it's very important to say that actually what happened was something vastly better and more interesting than our rather simple little idea at the beginning. So seeing now what the BME, EBM, BME is like is something quite extraordinary. But I suppose it's a kind of message, it's a kind of recurring message for those here who are sort of entrepreneurial or plan to be entrepreneurial and think, well, you know, you've got to have some idea and stick with it. Sometimes, yeah, you've got to stick with it, but sometimes that idea can change and go in directions that you would never imagine possible. Anyway, I'll hand back to you two.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so back to Coventry. During our stay, Coventry opened not only our eyes for e-learning, but meanwhile, Ian and I discussed the basic concept of what was called at that time EBM. Lieve, do you remember EBM? The unique selling position was, and still is, and it's said already, that the students study in 3 different countries, 3 very different areas in Europe. Starting in Kelding, which is North European, following the second year in Leuven, Central Europe, and ending in Coventry with a full Anglo-Saxon methodology, which could lead into a master program in Coventry without a bridging year. Do you remember? For students from professional education, when they want to go to the university, they need a bridging year before they can do a master. And we heard that it was not necessary in Coventry, so we were very interested. But before we could start, a lot of differences in the educational structure, the methodology, the quality management, the validation and the administration had to be tackled. Therefore, we organized mutual visits and meetings. The early adopters were Bill Brooks, Paul Jackson from Coventry, Ian and his dean Niels Egelund, and Lieve, José, Tummers, and Mario de Wolf as volunteers in Leuven. It was not easy to get solved all problems, but our belief in this concept was much stronger. For me, it offered us the opportunity to enlarge our policy in internationalization, which is said already by Mahi. So up to then, we only were exchanging students within Erasmus. So there was an opportunity to enlarge the whole thing. Ian, do you want to continue?
I suppose I wanted to just say something about how the BME works, just very briefly, because for most of the people who kind of see it from the outside, and particularly from students, well, I was trying to find some sort of good comparison, and the one I came up with, it might not be a good comparison, but it was the best one I came up with, was actually a smartphone, because you've got a smartphone and you do all sorts of things with it. You might even use it to make phone calls, but you certainly, you know, you take pictures and you text and do all sorts of things. But basically, for the user, the consumer. It's actually very simple. You just sort of, most of the time, sort of tapping a screen. Underneath the thing, some people have had to work rather hard to make the whole thing function. I would say that the BME is exactly like that. The whole idea of it was that students could come along. You see, you could do this almost independently in a way. You could be a very enterprising student and go to a university and then try to get into another university and try to get into another university. Might be sort of technically possible, but it would be extremely difficult and very time consuming. So the idea was that students would come along year one, first of all in Denmark, and later they had the choice also to go to Spain, that they could do this without any need to worry about year two or anything like that. Everything would just sort of happen for them. So that was basically how it worked. And I can't tell you the number of times that I've been to a conference or some kind of event where people have heard about this program and they've said, oh, that's a great idea. How do you do it? And, you know, we sort of feel in a way a little bit like, I don't know, if you went into a restaurant and said to the chef that was the best dinner you'd ever had, what was the recipe? You think, well, the chef's not going to give you the recipe because you won't go in the restaurant again. So we weren't really minded to share too much of how we did it because it is actually quite complicated in the bit behind the scenes. But it works, and it now works for a very diverse number of students, different places, and diverse locations. Never would I have thought, for example, that students would choose, instead of going to the famous, luxurious, exotic resort of Kolding in Denmark, that they would actually choose to go to Barcelona instead. But there you go. Sometimes these things happen. So we have this. So I'll pass back to Luke.
Okay. So 10 years ago, we got started with a limited number of students. Flemish students were always outnumbered from the beginning. Meanwhile, we learned a lot from the first generation of those students, as you probably will hear from Peter later on. Despite they were faced with many obstacles as housing, tuition fees and grants, selection of appropriate modules, different levels of teaching, etc., they stayed motivated and committed. I never forget the first graduation ceremony in Coventry. Graduates and their parents from everywhere in the world were sitting in this huge and impressive cathedral. One by one, the chancellor handed over their diploma, and each of them had his or her moment of glory, walking back through the middle of this historic cathedral. It took hours and hours, but nobody complained. When our students of BME turned up, I was so proud. At the following reception, nobody paid attention to me. But this was changing. The following years, the more they saw in Coventry, the increasing number of master students. Also, IBA is International Business Academy in Kolding, did a significant job recruiting international students, but surveying the level access was challenging. I still remember some students from East Europe. I remember also that IBA offered us the opportunity for internships in New Zealand. I don't know if it's still going on, but that was very exciting for us. After a few years of running the program, University of Coventry suddenly announced they were obliged to install a cap for European students because of reduced subsidizing. This was a time of Tony Blair, you know. For us, it was a sign to look for new partners, especially for the third year. We agreed with ESC Rennes, and now it's Elise, I think. I don't know if she's here now, a founding father of NIPS. University of Worcester stepped in. And Marilyn and John Gardner, I saw already John, hello, were the leading persons. And thanks to Colin Knapp, we met Anita Pellich, who gave us a better lead-in to London South Bank University. I don't know if there is somebody from London South Bank. Oh, there you are. Okay, welcome. Another successful story was the commitment of Universitat Autonómica de Barcelona. Ian again met Santi Santiago, and since then we have a very attractive entry also in Spain. And as it is said, there is now one in Finland too. I remember still the first night in Barcelona, discussing, not sleeping. How could we manage the new partners keeping the same concept? Ian and we discussed most of the night. But there was a little problem. We didn't have any sheet of paper in the room. But no worry. Finally, we had the concept of a route plan on a sheet of toilet paper. Since then, students can choose, as Ian said, between different tracks according to their interest or to their financial resources. Ian? You have still a third point?
Just one final point. I was just going to say that for any project like this, you need people who have got sort of charisma and charm and personality and sort of real qualities. But enough about me. The people, there are two people here who are the real heroes of this, because you can come up with these ideas, but you actually need a leader. There are two kinds. There are lots of kinds, but let's say there are two kinds. There's the one who, when you go along to them and you say, "I've got this idea," and they say, "Why? What's the point?" And the other kind is the one that says, "Why not?" And both David Gillingham and Luke were leaders who were in that second category. Luke would never reject any idea before thinking about it, and you need somebody like that. And the other is that you need someone who will stick with the project and work on it and make it successful. And the unspoken hero of this, well, she certainly will get mentioned, I hope, many times, but is Lieve Moulier, who is the absolute... Without her, it would not exist.
Yeah, the worst thing is that we were a bit in a hurry to get here because we were telling and talking about EBM all the time over noon, and we bought flowers, but we forgot them in the car. I'm sorry, I forgot them in the car. So, Lieve, also from my part, I wish to express our gratitude. You are the tower of strength in the BME. Thank you for everything that you did all those years. I suppose everybody will agree you will get your flowers. We hope BME will continue running successfully the next 10 years in order that we can come celebrate in 10 years for the 20th anniversary. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Luke and Ian. That surely was a captivating story. Mrs. Dagmar Johnson can make this story complete, since she is the only person who has been part of the consortium from the very start until now. Mrs. Johnson, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I'm holding a microphone in one hand, turning my slides over on the other. I hope I'm not dropping anything. Just one slight correction. I'm not part of it right from the very beginning. I joined only a couple of months later. That's all right. So when Lieve asked me to talk to you students and dear colleagues to provide an overview of the EBM, as we in Coventry still call it, you now call it the BME, as the longest acting course director, I felt humbled. Humbled because of EBM's uniqueness. This has all been mentioned before, but I'm telling you this from my perspective. This program is truly unique because there is no other program like it. No other program enables students to study in a different country every year in a different institution over 3 years, and a work placement in yet another country from around the globe. And as Jan said yesterday, and with the teaching of business management through 3 perspectives in each institution. Unique is the quality of our students on this program. You from all around the world, and by the way, all of you across Europe and around the world, who will be our future leaders. You are our future. This program enables you to gain cross-cultural competencies and agility through highly academic experiences in different education systems, but also through your experience by living in as many as 4 different countries. All of this makes you, of course, highly employable. Unique, pardon? Do you want to contribute? Unique, at Coventry University at least, and I'm sure actually that all the other third-year partners will be agreeing with me, to a near enough 99% success rate. I can honestly say that over the last 9 years that I'm course director at Coventry, we've lost 1 student somewhere along the lines. She didn't fail, but she didn't complete. So a 99% success rate and 100% progression into appropriate employment and or postgraduate study. And that also around the world. Although we would like it more in Coventry. So when I started as a course director in 2009, there were few students and few year 1 and few year 3 partners. EBM was growing quickly, and we had to find more partners for student choice and, of course, to accommodate the growth. And now we are looking again for more partners to join the EBM as we are continuing to grow. So welcome to Fachhochschule Aachen and Laurea University in Finland, who I believe have signed the contract today. Is that correct, Lieve? Yeah? Pardon? Yes. Okay. So one of my first tasks as a course director was to undergo a periodic review or a program review or revalidation, as you call it, and to rewrite the program that I kind of took over in 2009. Then the EBM had quite a few optional modules or optional courses, as you call it here in Belgium. And this was changed at the time to a more slimlined program with fewer options as a result. And 7 years on, because we do our periodic reviews every 7 years, we have now introduced another program or another new EBM program where we've gone back to 10 options on top of the core study. So we've done a whole full circle in those 9 years. Marketing and recruiting students from all over the globe. Finding and incorporating new partners. Ploughing our way through institutional and governmental bureaucracy to achieve, maintain, and grow this unique program requires people with vision, thank you, passion, drive, persistence, and so many more positive attributes. Can't even think of those words. I'm so proud to be a member of this incredible team that overcomes or sidelines natural competitiveness between year 3 partners, yeah? And all of that for the greater good of the EBM program. So we're working together to ensure another 10 years of EBM. At least 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Johnson, for your contribution. We've heard a lot about the story behind BME, about its place within UC Leuven, Limburg, its place within the other institutions, in the city of Leuven, even in the European educational area. But don't forget that this program was set up for the benefit of students. So we haven't had the input of the students yet, but this is what we are now waiting for. The first 2 people who will talk to us about that are Mr. Michiel de Wolf and Mrs. Agustina Carboni, 2 second-year students of the BME.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Does it work? Yeah. Okay. My name is Michiel. Next to me is Augustina. And we both did our first year at the UAB in Barcelona. And we will give you a quick insight on what we experienced. And I hope it will be interesting. If it's not, you can just watch the slideshow, but it won't be, because it will be very interesting. So let's get straight to it. It was my dad that told me about the BME program, and I was still in the 5th grade, which is the grade before the last year in high school. So I shouldn't be searching for studies, but I immediately fell in love with the program when he explained it to me, because after 12 years living in Belgium, I was becoming a bit tired of it, and I needed a new environment, a new adventure. So after he explained me everything, my mind already chose and my heart already chose that I wanted to study the BME program. I visited some other study fairs, but my mind was made up. And so at the end of August in 2016, I arrived in Barcelona, a new city. Didn't know anyone, I was completely alone. My first day was in a hotel because my residence was only accessible the second day. So I just started wandering around without mobile data, without a map, without any knowledge of the city at all. And I remember seeing like the top of a church sticking above all other buildings. So I decided, let's just walk that way. And that's how I stumbled upon the Sagrada Familia. It wouldn't be the last time that I would see the Sagrada Familia, because there was a KFC next to it and a Burger King and a McDonald's. So yeah, I went there quite often. But that day was the beginning of a great experience and a life-changing experience as well, because the BME program has provided me with so many opportunities. Like, I couldn't imagine myself having all those opportunities laying in front of me that I have right now if I would have just stayed in Belgium. So I'm really happy that I made this choice. It also made me more ambitious in life and professionally as well. And it made me able to create a whole network of friends all over the globe. I mean, I can visit so many countries and I would not need to pay for a hotel room because you just know people everywhere. So it's a really nice feeling to know that you have friends at every continent, at so many parts of the world. And it's all thanks to the BME program. What we learned in the BME program, of course, all the academic skills relevant to a business degree, but also a lot of other skills that are handy for the companies that you will work for in the future, but also personally. You learn to adapt. You learn to get out of your comfort zone, not only once, but 3 times. For most people, even 4 times if they do their internship abroad. You learn how to develop relations, and you change your mindset about the world. Like, your worldview is expanded. And last but not least, you really learn how to live a badass student life. If you would take all the stories from all the BME students and you would put them in a book, you would have a huge book. Like, it would be like the Bible, like a student Bible, like how to live the most badass student life ever. And that's really nice because all those stories, I mean, imagine when you're 80 years old and you have 25 grandchildren and they're watching Netflix through their, I don't know, Google glasses or whatever the technology will be then. At least you will have interesting stories to tell them and they will listen to you. And that's really nice. Because in the end, personally, I think it's important to learn, to develop yourself, and to experience. And the BME program provides you with opportunities to achieve those things in abundance. And that's what makes this program so great, in my opinion.
Hello, everybody. I'm Agustina. I chose this picture because this was my favorite place in Barcelona. It's Casa Mila from Gaudi. My story is a little bit different from the one of Michiel. I'm a little bit older than the rest of the other students. I'm not 65, but a little bit older. I studied architecture before. I almost finished my bachelor, and at some point I decided that that wasn't what I want to do with my life. So yeah, I started searching for different possibilities, what I really wanted to do with my life. And I found the BME program. And it was the only thing that I found that at this point in my life could challenge me, could put me out of my comfort zone, and could give me a lot of new experiences. Of course, these were the reasons why I chose, and of course, I was coming from a scientific background and I want to do something totally different, and the business world is amazing. And also the multicultural background. I'm from Argentina, I have an Argentinian background. And this made me feel like I was home. It's weird because everybody comes from another country. And they told you, like, okay, you're not going to be only with Belgian people, but also people from the East or from somewhere else in the world, or I don't know. And this made me feel like, okay, I'm not going to be the only one that speaks 3 languages or that had the experience. I had to go to live to another country, total different country. So right away, I made the decision of joining the BME group. The advantages of studying in 3 different countries that Michiel said, it's, oh, wait. no, go back. The advantages is independence, most of all, because, okay, I'm older, but people that finish high school and suddenly have to go live to another country, this not only going away from your house or your parents, it's also going to another country, another experience, another culture. So this gives you a sense of independence and maturity that I don't think you could have in other courses, in other faculties. Next to that, flexibility and adapting, of course, like Michiel said, at this age, we develop so quick, and I think our flexibility and our adapting skills are so much, they develop so fast, and I think we became another person in 1 year. Also, the friendships all over the world. I met people from Egypt, from Brazil, from Mexico, from all over the world, and yeah, you don't have to pay a hotel anymore. And then, of course, you get so much more open-minded. I thought I was open-minded because when I was 12, I moved from Argentina to Belgium, and I had another view over the world. But this made me so much open-minded and so much less judgmental, and yeah, I learned a lot. Now the next slide, thank you. So this, yeah, this was our first year in Barcelona. We had fun. We also my friends there became also like a family. I'm Argentinian, we're really close, we're really Latino, we're almost like Italian and Spain together. And yeah, my friends there became my family. I also had the opportunity to connect a little bit with my roots because Spanish people are also a little bit like Argentinian people. So, next one. But also we had time to visit places and to not only connect with each other, but with the different cities in Spain. Yeah. And we had to study a lot. So that was, we developed our time management a lot. Like if we wanted to do something, we had to study first, and then we will motivate each other and study in groups so we could finish everything in time. Next. This we also celebrated birthdays. As I just said, we became kind of a family. And at the end, we got really close. We even had like a Christmas dinner before leaving Barcelona. And it was Spain, so we kept eating. And we ate more. But what I want to say that I also felt, in the difficult times, I also felt really supported, and I felt like I always had, they always had my back, Ellen and Marta in Barcelona. And also I felt like it was one of the best years of my life. So, thank you.
Thank you for sharing your experiences and your memories of last year and a little bit of this year. That is the part of the students studying within the BME, but then you also have the part of the alumni, what happens after having finished the BME. And there is one person here who will tell us a little bit more about that, Mr. Peter Bayard. He's going to give us some insight into career possibilities for BME students.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. "10 years, yeah, 10 years. 10 years ago, I can still remember waving goodbye to mom and dad, stepping in the car, driving to Denmark, and arriving there, and then, finding a place to live. And back then, like, I flew back from Dublin, where I live now, yesterday, and I was thinking about that day, and I didn't think it was going to have that much impact on me to do these experiences in 3 years, 3 different countries, a whole lot of companies. And just so we're clear, you're the students from this year, second year? Cool. Lots of things ahead of you. And yeah, so I was thinking, like, why did I do it? Right? Like, why did I ever join the program? Why did it attract me? And I think when I was in high school, I once had an experience. I joined the European Youth Parliament, and that's when I kind of became fascinated with Europe. And the idea that so many weird countries try to work together and stay together until recently. And yeah, like back then, it didn't really say like, no, I'm gonna do something with Europe. But then a few years later, I saw a brochure of a little suitcase. I don't know if you remember, with EBM on it. And I thought like, yeah, that could be my suitcase. And I joined the program. So what I wanted to touch upon today was a little bit like what I got out of it, or what I experienced of it. And of course, like all the academic stuff. And I'm not really sure what those pictures were about because I only was sitting in libraries. So, yeah, and basically I came up with 5 things, and unfortunately all of them have already been said. So I'm going to rephrase them a little bit so that it sounds original. But one of the biggest things would be becoming more empathic, like being able to displace yourself in why other people do the things they do, like finding out like what is their motivation. Because in the beginning there was a lot of frustration, like those damn Nordic people and those Southern European people. But then once in a while, or one day, I woke up and I said to my friend Rick, they can't just be thinking like, well, you know what? I'm gonna say something really stupid now, and then say whatever they needed to say. So there had to be a reason, and then they kind of. That's when I started to experience like the more ability to figure out why people do what they do, right? So that's one thing. Then the second thing, I'd say I've become quite a minimalist. So maybe you recognize it, the students now, or in France and wherever. I don't own a lot of stuff, right? And I still don't do, right? Because I learned how to live out of a suitcase and basically. Throw away a lot of stuff that are non-essential and focus more on experiences in life rather than owning mobile data or whatever, or an iPhone or something like that. And that brings me to the next thing, because that ability, or the ability to let go of things, kind of opened up my eyes in terms of opportunity, the way I see it. The way the program really made me change is to think cross-country, to think cross-border, and to look at macro trends that are shaping our society at the moment. And one of those trends was technology, hence my move to Dublin. But I wouldn't have had that, I think, if I would have stayed in Belgium. And that brings me to the fourth point, which is actually a sense of distance. Like when I was in high school, I thought Brussels was far. Right? It was an hour with the train, and no. I was there twice before I turned 18. So that was a big journey, and now I live in Dublin. That's only an hour flying, right? So yeah, that's something that I got out of it as well. And then I think the most important thing would be resilience. Why resilience? I think due to things like technology, due to things like a Brexit, due to a lot of trends that are gonna affect us all. We will be met with adversity. We will be met with a lot of luck. And I think being in an EBM kind of program, being exposed to so many change, to so many new situations, to so many problems, to so many opportunities, kind of sets you up with a skill set that will allow you to be more resilient in the coming years, right? Like to be able to grasp the opportunities and to deal with the things that are less less fun. So enough about that. What I do now, they asked me to tell a little bit about what I do now. So after I graduated in Coventry, I asked Mr. Van Hille, what should I do now? And he told me to go to France. So I went to France. And I don't know if you still remember, but and I went to the ESRN. And afterwards I went to Spain and then to the Netherlands. And then all of a sudden I ended up in Dublin. And I'm now part of an organization that's pretty multicultural. We're there with 7,000 people. In Dublin, in the office, they speak around, 83 languages, 83 nationalities, 67 languages. So all of those 5 things I just mentioned, they come in pretty handy when you're working in a situation like that. And we're part of the future, I'd say. We're managing 2.5 million companies from their advertising from that hub, and so I look after the Belgian and the Luxembourgian companies. And one thing that really, like, I was really thinking about on the plane, like, so what's the most important thing I learned in the EBM program that affects my current job, and that is the ability to learn from others, right? Like, and I'd say when you're in Denmark or when you're in England, which is completely different than Belgium in a lot of ways, like at first you're like, yeah, and they should do it like it's in Belgium because it's way better, etc., etc. But then all of a sudden you see, like, hey, that kind of works. They should do that in Belgium as well. And I think the ability to spot something good and then apply it to your own and learn from it, that's the most biggest added value that I see today in my current job. Like, not reinvent the wheel all the time, but learn from what others are doing well. So I would like to thank everyone for being here, for letting me be here. And I would like to thank José and Lieve a lot, because through the 3 years, I think you were always there when things escalated or didn't escalate. So thanks a lot, everyone. Good luck to all the students that are gonna end their career, and do let me know if you're looking for a job. We can use all of you. So, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Bayard. I think the message for the students is clear. There is life after BME, and even a very interesting one. Thanks to all the speakers, but before we go for a drink, which everyone will like, I think, but just before that, I give the floor to Mrs. Mieke Roggen. She is the program director of the BME curriculum and of the marketing curriculum in general. And she would like to thank a couple of people and also give a small token of our appreciation to the different speakers.
Thank you, Karina. I have the greatest job today. Dear guests, dear colleagues, dear followers on YouTube, and last but not least, dear students. We almost reached the end of the official part of this celebration, and I think it was, if I may say so, a special celebration for a special anniversary. We are all so proud of what we accomplished together. We are so proud of the high-quality programs we can offer to our international students. The efforts we have made over the past 10 years to establish a trans-European program are more than rewarding. In the course of the 3-year program, we see our students gradually improve and develop into global citizens with a lot of understanding for different cultures. We are very grateful to that. And we are also grateful that all of you are here to celebrate this anniversary with us. A first group I would like to thank are our special guest, Karina, our special virtual guest, the first President of Europe, Marie, our head of our department, Mohamed, he left already, our founders, Luc and Ian, Dagmar, Agustina and Michiel, and of course all the lecturers, colleagues, administrative support of the BME program. Hold on, my spectacles. A special thank also goes to our new partners from Germany and Finland. We are very happy that you joined our program. You will not regret it. Secondly, a warm thank to our second-year students. We are very happy to welcome you all here and celebrate together with us. You have had a wonderful impression by Peter of a possible future career. We are positive that you have enjoyed it. Thank you, Peter, to come over especially for this event. We appreciate it very much. A lot of people made this celebration happen. Thank you, D210. It's an inside joke. And Anna, Sophie, Mira, Johan. Without you, there wouldn't have been a celebration at all. And even our new website is a fact. Victoria, wherever you are, and Jan, together you did a great job. Thank you, partners and students celebrating in France, Spain, and the UK. But the final and most important person, Ian, you said it already, who deserves our gratitude here in this auditorium is our BME coordinator, the greatest and most famous one in Europe. Together with José, thank you, José, she started the BME program with our very first 11 students. Lieve, thank you for your incredible energy, your support and enthusiasm, your friendship, professionalism, concern and kindness. Words can't describe enough what you have done for our program all those years. As a token, a minute. We have flowers. Sorry. I was the first. So as a token of our gratitude, let's give you some beautiful flowers and a little surprise, Lieve. And a little surprise, please. Give it to José. Okay. It was a little surprise. So we kindly thank you, and we want to give you a very warm applause. Thank you, Lieve.
UC Leuven-Limburg invites you to go to the lounge, and it's not difficult, just go straight forward once you've left this auditorium, and to raise your glass to the past and to the future of the BME curriculum and consortium. And don't forget to have a look at the two screens in the lounge. They will show you images of a reception going on simultaneously in Coventry and in Rennes. Another virtual way of meeting one another across borders. Thank you so much for being here. Have a nice afternoon. Oh, wat dat was toch niet nodig, maar dank je wel. Altijd bereid.
Het is niet zoveel, maar het is...
Weet je nog dat hij
ja,
afgezet
wordt? Anders zal dat wel doen.
Thank you. vooral geleerd de dingen die het meest bezocht kan zijn, van ligt is het meest mee. Maar we moeten dat heel maar dan kan je dan de lounge wel doen. Proficiat meisjes allemaal. Lieve, en dingen proficiat voor al die iedereen. Ja, maar je gaat toch wel.
2 jaar was het 2 jaar geleden. En dan is het ineens omhoog gegaan. En dan ineens weer, dus we gaan waarschijnlijk tegen de 200.
Ja, ik vond het heel leuk om dat te zien. Ik ga waarschijnlijk ook, maar ik weet niet wie er gaat komen, maar ik ga waarschijnlijk niet alleen zien voor de afterwork party. Ik dacht dat ze mij meenemen om eens mensen te zien, maar zonder dat mensen moeten gaan lesgeven en iedereen zijn ontspannen. Dat is nu wel eens een leuke discussie.
Dat zijn er die dat gaan zien. Allemaal bedankt, Maasje.
Ja, de Skype moet nog beginnen.
En dat tekenen.
Hallo, Niels?
Dat tekenen, maar dus...
Komt jij naar
Anna. Anna, kan jij die afzetten?
Ah, jij bent dan in de lounge.
Kan jij die
Ja.
afzetten?
Wacht je nog even voor de Skype tot ik het heb? Oké, tot ziens. Ik ga direct komen.
Test 1, 2, 2. Dat is hem. Dat is hem. Maar niet te hard, niet te hard, niet te hard. Not too loud, not too loud. Oké, 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 oké. Test 1, 2, test, test, test.